Hey everyone, Joe here. I just finished having a conversation with somebody about the differences between Microsoft and Google and Apple, and I thought I would just make a short video. Hopefully, it can answer some of the questions maybe that you've been having around these issues. So, at the HWDSB, we use exclusively Microsoft products. We used to use Google in some capacity, but we've moved over to just Microsoft. So I like to explain it sometimes because your phone might be an Android phone or your home computer might be a Mac. So you might be a little bit confused about how this all plays out. I like to think of it as three silos. So Apple is a silo, Microsoft is a silo, and Google is a silo. Google tends to be Android, it tends to be open source stuff. So a lot of stuff that's free tends to be Google oriented. Microsoft is a for profit company, as is Apple. If you use one of these three things, you'll notice that they all have the same type of product, but it's got a different name for each of the three silos. So, for example, your web browser in Google, you're probably using a product called Chrome. If you're in the Microsoft world, you're probably using as your web browser Edge, or formerly Internet Explorer. And if you're in the Apple world, you're probably using Safari. So you'll notice those three things are the same thing. It's a web browser, but they're unique to each silo. Now, you might want to download Chrome on a Microsoft computer, and you can do that. Or you could use Edge. Sometimes you might be able to use Edge, like on a Chromebook. Probably not, but I don't know. Don't quote me on that. Then take it to the next level where you're going to use your word processing or your spreadsheet documents. In the Google world, they're called Google Docs, Google Sheets. In the Microsoft world, they're called Microsoft Office suite of products like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. And in the Apple products, I actually don't use them, so I don't even know the names of them, but there's a spreadsheet utility and there is a Word type of utility in Apple. So as you go through these three silos, you'll notice, so email might be in the Microsoft world, you use Outlook or Outlook Express or Office 365. In the Google world, you'll be using Gmail. And in the Apple world, you'll be using that Apple. Again, I don't use Apple very often. I use it on my iPhone, but I don't typically use it on the computer. So yeah, when you're living in one of these silos, it's kind of helpful to understand how it works. At the HWDSB, because we live in the Microsoft silo, we use a product called OneDrive. OneDrive is the way that we save documents to the cloud. In the old days, we used to save it on an H drive or to your C drive. There was a lot of mismanagement as to like, how do I share this document with somebody? We'd have to send them a copy. And say you made a typo on that copy, you'd have to send them a second copy. Or say you wanted to send it to 100 people, you had to send this document 100 times. Say it was a 10 meg document. There's 1,000 megs going over the wire to 100 different people. You made the typo, you got to do it again. Meanwhile, somebody maybe only got version 1 and they didn't understand version 2 exists, so they're using the incorrect names. There's a lot of reasons why we don't want to send multiple copies of a document to multiple people. It's better if you have one document that lives in one place and you give people access to view it and or edit it. So in our world, we use OneDrive as our own spot. So I have JPavlov, a document. I have a OneDrive that's called JPavlov that I store my documents in. Every so often, I right-click on a document and I share it with somebody. I might give them edit capability. I might not, depending if I want them to be able to make changes to the document. So this is great in office environments where you have like a spreadsheet where you want people to sign up for a potluck and everybody can put their name. You want to edit them to be. You want everybody to be able to edit that document, but you don't want 14 copies of the document out there. So you use OneDrive. I also in my personal life, I use Google products quite extensively, and I use my Google Docs. So my family created something called a death binder, which back in the old days used to be a binder, but nowadays it's a spreadsheet with the names of my family members along the top, and along the side are the different rows. So where's the spare key to your house? What banks do you deal with? Where do you have a DNR? Do you have just questions that would happen if somebody were to be in a life-threatening situation? It's nice to know that my sister knows where the spare key to my house is. It's nice to know that my dad knows who I bank with in case they need that information in the future. And we have shared this document with each other, and we all can change it, which is great for when you change. My sister lives in a condo with a passcode, changes from time to time, so she'll update that spreadsheet as needed. We do that in a Google Doc because my dad uses Google, so do I, and so does my sister. But at work, we use the OneDrive. So it's the same idea. And I want to keep this under 5 minutes. I'm at 4:55, so that's it. That's your three silos, and that's just a short explanation of the world we live, the three worlds we live in.